Hi everyone! So, I literally just stopped recording for my previous video, the Dirty Pour Resin Jars one, and I've been left with this excess resin. And since I don't want it to go to waste, let's make something with it. In case you didn't watch my last video, which you should, I'm using Let's Resin's epoxy, and I dyed this resin with these pigment pastes from Let's Resin as well. Now, what I'm wanting to do is I want to make some free-form resin pendants. I'm saying free-form with air quotes because obviously I am using a mold here, but this mold is just to hold the resin in something so I don't end up with a mess. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my colors and randomly pour them in. I don't have a set pattern or look I'm trying to achieve. I don't have a set technique that I'm doing really. I'm just pouring the resin in, letting it lay and spread as it wants. The only thing I will be doing is I'm going to use my heat gun to soften the harsh lines where the colors meet. I want the transition between colors to softly blend together, and then I'm going to pick up my mold and turn it around a bit so that the resin reaches the edges. One thing I do have to make sure of is that I don't make this resin too thick, because if I do, then it's going to be hard to cut it with my scissors into pendants. We'll get to that a bit later, but it looks like I have a bit more space in the mold since the resin is taking a moment to reach the edges, so I'm just going to quickly add a bit more resin and move it around again. Let me know in the comments if you've ever made a resin piece like this, and let me know what you usually do with your excess resin. This time around, I wasn't fully able to soften some of the lines in the resin, so I'm going to go in with the silicone tool and manipulate the resin a bit. One thing to keep in mind though is that yes, I'm doing this, but I'm also not holding my breath that the resin is going to stay put. Resin will keep moving up until it's pretty much set, so although the design I'm doing here looks pretty, it's probably not going to look like this tomorrow. Now I'm going to let this cure and I'll be back. All right, everyone. As you can see, the resin moved as it was curing last night, and that pretty design I made yesterday has been pulled into the middle, which is fine. I was expecting this. I still see some good spots I want to use for my resin pendant, so that's what really matters. I did end up still having excess resin, so I went ahead and made this second piece, which turned out really lovely as well. This one I could honestly just leave it as a coaster because it's just so pretty, but I'm going to stick to my plan and we're going to make pendants. Now, as I demold these, and before we get into the next step, I want to put a disclaimer here because I just want to let you know that if you do try making resin pendants like this, cutting resin with scissors is tricky, and I'm not going to lie, I did struggle a little, so if you have a go at this, please be careful. With that being said, the next step is cutting up these resin pieces. Like I mentioned earlier, I did do my best to make sure that these pieces stayed thin. I'd say they aren't more than 2 to 3 millimeters thick. So the thinner they are, the easier it is to cut with scissors. And also, if you notice, the resin isn't fully set either. It's a bit bendy, so that helps the cutting process as well. I bet you're wondering, why is she going through all this trouble when there's perfectly good pendant molds that you can use? And that's absolutely true. I have a whole ton of pendant molds in a drawer here, but I think doing it this way in a larger mold has given me more room to move the resin and play with the resin to get some unique patterns. And also, when it comes to cutting and shaping the pendants by hand, I think it gives it a more handmade feel to them. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Now, the next step is to sand these pieces down and get rid of these sharp edges. If you've never worked with resin before, resin can be really sharp when it's cured. I've cut myself quite a few times, and since these are going to be pendants on a necklace, it's best that I keep my neck safe. I'm only going to be sanding this piece on camera because, as you can see, it can get pretty dusty. But as for the other pieces, know that I will be sanding them over my garbage bin and wearing my respirator. The next step is to drill holes so I can attach my bales. I'm not exactly sure what size drill bit I'm using. I bought these drill bits a long time ago at Michael's, and even though it lists the sizes on the backs, I can't remember which one it is since they're not all here, but it is one of the thicker ones. However, when it comes to this part, it really comes down to the size of the bales. You just need to make sure that the bale will fit the hole. You can also use glue-on bales if you don't have a small drill, but I find that those can be a little finicky because to get a good adhesion, you need to sand the spot where the bale is going. And if you don't, then the bale can pop off like it has for me a few times. So I just prefer to drill a little hole and use a pinch bale. Let me know which you prefer to use, pinch bales or glue-on bales. By the way, I'm going to show you all the steps I'm taking to make these pendants, but I won't be showing you me doing all the steps on each individual piece. I just don't want this video to be way too long. Now, before I add my top coat to these, I'm going to add a little extra detail. I'm going to go around the edges with my chrome markers and outline them, giving these a framed look. I think adding the border will make these pendants look finished, and I think the gold and silver will look really nice. I'm also going to be painting the sides. I really want to cover the matte finish I've been left with from cutting and sanding the sides. I would highly recommend that if you do this to any of your resin pieces, or just use markers on your resin pieces, to do it before your top coat or dome so that when you do put your top coat on, the ink is sealed and can't be rubbed or scratched off. And lastly, it's time to put a top coat on these, and I'm just going to use the same Let's Resins epoxy for this. If you're new to resin, top coating can be really tricky because resin likes to pull and move to the middle. It's also hard to judge how much resin to put on top of resin pieces, so one of my biggest tips for top coating or doming resin pieces is to put a layer of liquid latex or PVA glue on the opposite side of your pieces that you're working on. It creates a barrier between your resin piece and any spillover that happens. Then once all the resin is cured, it just peels off with your latex or glue. And also, don't forget to make sure your resin pieces are leveled because that helps too. Now, I'm going to let this resin cure up and I'll be back so we can put on the bales. Okay everyone, these pendants are ready and just look at how pretty they are. Off camera, I finished the backs and I actually did slightly different finishes to them. 2, I finished the same way I did the fronts. 1, I just top coated without the chrome marker, and the other 2, I top coated it with a solid blue because I didn't really like how the backs looked. But what do we all think? I'm really happy with how these turned out, and the gold and silver border makes these pendants look like they're paintings. Now for the bales. I have this little case here with a bunch of different design ones, and I'm going to quickly show you how I put it on one. I recommend having some pliers handy because some of these can be made with a thicker metal and it can be hard to pinch with only your fingers. And that's it, my friends. Be sure to let me know what you think of these. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. If you did, then please smash the like button, and if you'd like to see more resin videos I've done, then be sure to check out one of the ones on screen now. Thanks so much for watching!